Have you ever seen a ghost? What was your reaction? If not, imagine, what would you do if you did see someone or something from the other side? I'm not sure myself what I would do in this case, but I sure do hope that I have an empty bladder if that happens. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Ghost Stories from around the world. This time, I have a story that was told to me just recently by one of my friends who has found himself firmly entangled in the enigmatic web of the supernatural at some point in his life. The story is called When You Think You Are Alone. In the heart of Saipan, northern Mariana Islands, nestled between the lush tropical paradise and the deep blue Pacific Ocean, stands the Hyatt Regency Hotel, the 5-star luxury hotel that can please even the most spoiled customer. It is a magnificent establishment, boasting 2 buildings, the old and the new, each with its own unique charm. However, it was the old building that holds a chilling secret, one that my friend, a former flight attendant, would never forget. My friend, let's call him Mike, arrived in Saipan for a short layover and was assigned to the old building, where the cabin crew was accommodated. His room was on the 2nd floor, a spacious sanctuary with 2 queen beds that he would have all to himself for the night. Exhausted from a long day of flying, Mike quickly settled into one of the comfortable beds and drifted off into a deep slumber. In the dead of the night, Mike was abruptly awakened by an eerie sensation, an unsettling feeling that someone was watching him. His eyes fluttered open, and there, on the other bed, sat a shadowy figure. A man, completely shrouded in darkness, was staring at him with an intense, unwavering gaze. The silhouette appeared stark against the moonlit window, casting an ominous presence in the room. A shiver of fear coursed through Mike's spine as he lay paralyzed, his heart pounding in his chest. He could not discern any features of the stranger, only the haunting silhouette that sat there. Panic gripped him, and his mind raced for an explanation. He tried to speak, but his voice was trapped in his throat. The minutes felt like hours as Mike lay there, the tension in the room suffocating. The ominous figure continued to watch him in a complete silence, an unsettling aura enveloping the room. Mike finally mustered the courage to hide under his blanket, hoping that it would provide some semblance of safety. As he concealed himself beneath the covers, he began to hear loud sounds echoing through the corridor outside. It was as if someone or something was running up and down, their footsteps thumping like a ghostly parade. The noises were erratic, unpredictable, and sent chills down Mike's spine. It was a chaotic noise that seemed to grow louder and louder with each passing moment, and sending Mike into the state of an utter panic as he realized that he is the only one who can hear this noise. It is in his head. Mike couldn't bear it any longer. With trembling hands and racing heart, he flung off the blanket and sprinted towards the door, racing down a dimly lit hallway to reach the reception desk. He gasped for breath as he pleaded with the hotel staff to give him another room, his voice trembling as he was telling about the horrifying encounter in his previous quarters. The hotel staff exchanged knowing glances, but without further inquiry, they hurriedly assigned him a room in the new building. Relieved but shaken to the core, Mike finally found his haven in his new accommodation. In the morning he found out that the old building of the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Saipan has a reputation for being haunted. Turns out the old building was constructed atop a long-forgotten cemetery, a burial ground that had been disturbed by the hotel's construction. It seemed that the restless spirits of the past now wandered the hallways seeking solace or perhaps retribution. To this day, Mike's terrifying encounter in the Hyatt Regency Hotel remains etched in his memory, a tale he shares with a shudder, reminding us that sometimes, even in the most luxurious of places, the past may not rest in peace, and the spirits of the departed may still walk among us, haunting the living with their silent presence. Now, you would think that one encounter should be quite enough for a person, but Mike was lucky enough, or perhaps unlucky, to run into the same unnerving situation again a few years later. Here is how it went this time. In the bustling heart of Seoul, my friend Mike found himself on yet another layover. This time, the crew was accommodated in the Incheon Hotel. As a flight attendant, Mike was accustomed to spending nights in different cities and hotels, but this particular night was the one that Mike wished he never had. Mike's room in the hotel was shared with another cabin crew member, a fact that brought him some comfort in a foreign land. Exhausted from the day's travel, he retired to his bed, hoping for a peaceful night's rest. However, as the witching hour approached, Mike was jolted from his sleep by a familiar, eerie sensation, an unsettling feeling of being watched, as if a déjà vu from a haunting encounter that had visited him once before. His eyes flew open and his heart frozen with fear as he gazed towards the foot of his bed. There, bathed in a soft glow of the night's light of Seoul, seeping through the curtains, stood two young Asian girls. The girls were pale as ghosts, their eyes fixed on him with an otherworldly intensity. Their expressions were serene yet haunting, and they made no sound as they continued to stare. Panic surged through Mike, and he closed his eyes, desperate to escape their unsettling gaze. In his fear-stricken state, he began calling out to his cabin crewmate, whose bed was mere feet away. But no matter how loudly he called, his roommate remained in a deep slumber, oblivious to Mike's distress. It was as if an impenetrable barrier separated them. Terror coursed through Mike's veins as he realized he was alone in facing the enigmatic visitors. He could feel their presence lingering in the room, their eyes never wavering from his form stretched out on the bed, unable to move. Just as despair threatened to consume him, the room's silence was broken by a distant, faint sound, a soft, melodic hum. The haunting melody grew louder and more soothing, wrapping around Mike like a protective cocoon. It seemed to emanate from the two ghostly figures themselves, as if they were trying to communicate. Summoning every ounce of courage he possessed, Mike slowly opened his eyes again. To his astonishment, the two spectral girls were no longer staring at him with an unsettling gaze. Instead, they stood hand in hand, their expressions now peaceful, their eyes conveying a sense of gratitude. The soothing melody filled the room, and Mike's fear began to ebb away. He watched in awe as the two apparitions gradually faded into the night's city lights, their presence dissipating like a fleeting dream. The room returned to silence, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Mike's cabin crewmate, seemingly unperturbed by the supernatural encounter, finally stirred and woke up. Mike struggled to find the words to describe his surreal experience, but he knew it would be futile. No one wanted to share a room with Mike after that night. Though he never truly understood the nature of those ghostly visitors, he couldn't help but feel that they had come with a message or a blessing, leaving behind a mystery that would forever haunt his memory, just like the Countess' layovers in strange and distant places. Let me know what your thoughts are on Mike's horrifying encounters. Have you ever experienced anything like that? Share your own ghostly tales, theories or reactions in the comments below. Thank you and have a nice nightmare.